load up our website. Everything's on the screen now, guys, in case you... My password is already in there, so it's going to skip that part that is asking you to put that in. And the first part of the site you go into is this EMS internal. That's intended to be the gateway, basically. On the top bar there, you see EMS internal, clinical sites, getting started, executive committee. These are all the sub-sites that have already been set up.
Although some won't show up on some people's.
Some will not show up on some people's because they haven't, if you're not a member of the executive committee, that likely will not show up there, at least it shouldn't. So it's really tailored to where you have permissions to go. Where I would like to start is people, which is where our user directory is. The first concept I want to get to is the distribution groups and the emails. I think if everybody understands that, they'll be able to replicate the usability they had with personal email. And if you're not worried about creating sites and you get that, which takes 2 minutes, you can operate with basic capability. Now, I don't have any context recorded at this point, so what's really important to us is the overall user directory. If we go to all users, you'll basically see the entire database for EMS. If you want to look up somebody's phone number or address or email, this is where you go. If they set up their website, it would be there as well. The other thing that's there, we see all groups. If we go to all groups,
how do I get a picture of myself on there?
I could definitely show you how to do that. I didn't. That's not something I focused on today, but that's pretty easy to do. So these are the groups that are already set up by some of us. We have a group that basically groups together our physicians or mid-level, the executive committee. If you click on those, so this is physicians. Let's see. This basically groups all of us. Shows you who the owners are and notes. Once you know this, you could use some of the features of the email more easily. I'm going to go to the email application, which is Outlook. And I think one of the simplest things we're going to need to do is to send an email to say all the physicians or all the mid-levels. And at this point, we're going to stop going through Sarah to do that. We're going to do that independently. So if I want to generate a new email, beforehand, we didn't have any group set up. So if you wanted to send an email to all the docs, you need to somehow collate everybody's personal information. At this point, if you click docs, you see since I emailed that group already, it shows up on my list here. But if you guys do this, this will not show up. But instead you'll have the search contacts and directory. And if you click on that, physicians will already populate. If you want to email the executive committee, that's there as well. And again, you do a search. And it should bring that up. Yes. If you want to email the mid-levels, MLs, brings that up. If you are a member of the EMS Board of Directors and you want to email within the board, this is the first time I'm trying this. Let's see if this works.
I think I have it as EMS.
Right.
BOD.
So you need to search on the board and see everything that's a match as far as users, and the only match is Board of Directors. So if you want to email the entire group, if you add MLs together with, let them go, mid-levels, and you add the docs to that, now you have everybody. You just add a subject and content, and you send it, and at this point, you send an email out to everybody. I think people who understand this sort of functionality you're basically done. If you want to attach something, that's fairly easy. You click insert right over here. You can insert an attachment or a picture. Then you click send and you're basically done. What we'd like to move to eventually is use emails less. And that's one of my goals. I'll kind of pick on you, Randy, as an example. You may want to email people who regularly go to Elmbrook. So one way for you to do this is to create a distribution group that includes everybody who goes there, and then you can just email them, and we can go over how to create a distribution group. Just experiment with that. Let's see. Go to sites. I have some of these in my bookmarks, but it's fairly easy to navigate. If you go to sites, it's going to list all the sites that you are part of. This is so you see a list of all the sites that I've gone into, and here we have the MS internal. If you just click the main address without anything after it, it takes you straight to EMS internal, emswe.sharepoint.com. Now at this point, if I go to site settings, these are all the different things that you can do here. We're obviously not going to go over everything, but we go to people and groups. Again, all this is going to be recorded because I'm going probably a bit faster for some people. Not what I wanted. Oh. Definition. Do you remember, Sarah, if this is where you go to set up a new group?
No, you
I thought it
couldn't.
was
The
site
new?
settings. Huh?
Oh,
The new
I'm in people, the people
Oh,
at
that's
the top,
group.
and then under new group, you can create a new group.
See? This is why I need all you guys here. It's been a while since I've done
Yeah,
that.
sure
see
you
the
don't
new
need
plus
that.
on the left top?
Yes, perfect. Right, so we'll go to
Jack.
groups. Excellent. And we'll do new. And we want to create a new group. We want to call it EMA in docs. If I know what to type, it'd be easier. And then you can add members. Let's see if we can search for them.
That'll just make it a group for you, not for everybody, right? It's not gonna-
Right, the owner would be, you can specify who the owner is. In this case, it would be Randy, who's doing this.
Are you creating this for me? Excellent.
So we just added 2, and we added 3. You see, this is fairly easy. After you're done, you just save it, and at that point, you have a distribution group, which then you can email, send attachments to. And if you want to have an email-centric use of SharePoint and Outlook, that's how you would do it. I'm going to go back to the sites now.
But other people could see that group, or just
Yeah,
Randy can
that's
see
it.
that group?
Yeah, if Randy owns it, then he can be the only one who adds people, removes
Mhm.
people, but everybody can use that group to email.
Hmm.
But he would remove and use it.
So on my Outlook, I made a group that says like St. Francis Docs or something like that, so everyone would
Mhm.
see that. What if there's like 50 different groups in there?
Right, I mean, we are gonna need some level of organization. What's nice about this is anybody can create content, but the downside is there's really nobody can necessarily set limits. We can program it to set limits and limit the content that people create, but it seems pointless. I think it's a better idea to email the 2 or 3 owners who say own a St. Francis group and say, you guys need to get together and decide who's going to manage this, rather than set limits. Because I think the more we create content by ourselves for things that we need, the less Sarah's going to need to be involved in it, the more sense it's going to make for everybody.
Can we put people in the group who aren't EMS?
At this point, the only people on there are EMS and a couple of the consultants we have.
I'm thinking like for ICU community, if I've got ICU crap, can I have a group with a non-EMS?
At this point, the only way to do that is to add them as users, and then we need to pay a monthly account for them. There is a way to share documents with people who are not part of the organization. I can show you how to do that. And that way, if they want to collaborate with you or see a document, you can send it to them. And we sort of bypass needing them to have permissions. One of the things here also when it comes to email is that this site is HIPAA compliant. So if you share content with too many people outside the organization, or you choose to sync that email account and take all the content to an external personal account, we've just destroyed HIPAA compliance. So those are 2 things to watch out for. What I want to do next is talk about creating content. And I'm going to use St. Joe's, or we can do Elbrook, doesn't matter, as an example of how to create content. If we go to EMS internal, you'll see that there's a top bar for clinical sites. That's
you
where
want
I.
to explain following?
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
Clinical sites is where I sort of envision all the different clinical sites creating their own sites. There's one already there for the Tulsa Urgent Care that we can take a look at. It has a picture, it has some updates, there's a place to place documents and places for that people start a conversation about issues they have. So we'll follow kind of the same model and try to create one for another site. So to create a new site, you need to start from the place. This is basically going to be a daughter site to clinical sites. It's going to go right under there. So you want to make sure you start at the right place. And then we'll go to site contents. Site contents list everything that's there on this EMS clinical sites. We'll talk about the apps pretty soon, so don't let that alarm you. But what we'll go to the plus sign next to new subsite. That's going to allow us to create a site for a new clinical site. So let's say we're going to use St. Joseph as an example. Description doesn't really matter all that much, and we can choose whatever name we want. We'll call it SJH. Next we come to what sort of template you'd like to use. This is not really a big deal. The template has to do with what apps come with the site right off the bat, but it's really easy to remove apps and add apps, so how it's going to look like at the end has probably not a lot to do with a template. I usually pick Team Site. Very easy for you to create websites and pick the other ones. Blog ones are really, open communication sort of page. Project is, project site would be something like the observation site that Gary created before it went public would be a good template to use to collaborate on a project. So let's pick Team Site for this. Next part is the part should probably focus on a little bit about permissions. So the way permissions work on SharePoint, basically who owns, who's a member, and who can visit a site, works by inheritance. So the primary site, EMS internal, has everybody being able to view and everybody is a member. If we don't specify anything differently, then the clinical sites will inherit the permissions from that. And now the daughter site of that, which is what we're creating, the St. Joseph's one, will inherit permissions from that. So if we change nothing, then everybody in EMS will be able to view and possibly edit material on this website. If you're comfortable with that, that's perfectly fine. However, if you want to create a website that's restricted in some fashion, then you need to use unique permissions to do that. I can click that even though this St. Joseph is probably the public site and should be open to everybody. Next is the navigation part. The parent site, which is clinical site, would need to display a link to St. Joseph, and here you can pick where that link is going to be displayed. So it's not going to be displayed on this left sidebar. Instead, it will be displayed on the top bar. If we're okay with that, then that's fine. I'm going to click on Create. And I purposely went into unique permissions so you can see how that works. We have visitors, members, and owners. At this point, I own the site, but I may want to add more people who are relevant to the site to be owners as well, and they can basically be administrators for the site. And the members are really everybody. No, I thought there was a thing for everyone. I guess we can do this. Or maybe we can't. Looks like here we may have to add people individually.
Well, maybe you should use an existing group.
Let's see. Use an existing group. Then we can look at all the groups we have here, which are quite a few. And where's everyone? Everyone used to be a group. Well, we'll go to physicians, let's say, mid-levels. Mid-level members. So that basically inherits from another site called mid-levels that already has members. The problem is we can only specify one, and we probably don't want only the mid-levels being there. So we go back. Specify that. Let's see. Okay.
Because you're creating a new group there, I think it's asking for a title of the group in that field.
I gotcha. It's letting me pick everyone as a group. That's what I want to. And we're going to do the same thing over here. Okay. So now we set specific permissions for the site. It doesn't like that, huh? Seems to have worked fine before. Alright, the alternative is to add them individually. We'll have to work
Well,
with this.
Eric, try just changing the title of everyone and visitors to anyone.
Do you think it's just a name
I think
conflict?
it's a name conflict.
Okay. Strong work, Gary. So this is set up now. This is how a site will look like when you just create it. It has this top bar, which is really designed to get you started with the different things you can do there. And this team collaboration site comes with a news feed where you can start a conversation and a place where you can upload the documents that you need. Your next step is to customize it, to add things that you want to be in there. So when we go to site contents, you see all the different applications that are there already. If you want to add something new, say a calendar, then you go to add application, and then you see a list of all the applications. Now, to be honest, I haven't explored all of them. I don't know if Gary has. There's lots of options to choose from. You can't go wrong by picking something and basically experimenting, seeing how that's going to work. I'm going to pick on calendar as an example here. So we just added the calendar. It shows us that this is a new application that's available for us to use. However, you'll see when we go back home, nothing really happened. It just looks exactly the same. It doesn't show that we've done anything yet. All we've done is we added an application asset that we can now add to the site. So when we go to change things is edit. Click on that. And what's nice about SharePoint is you edit sites just like you edit a Word document. The first thing to look at is the layout of your site. And at this point, you see, this is the layout we have. We have 2 columns on the bottom and a big bar up on top. But we can change it to something else that would work better for us, say 2 columns, a header and a footer. Now after we've done that, you see we have a new footer. Now, let's say we want to add our calendar to the footer. This calendar will allow us to add events that are only specific for St. Joe's. We'll go to Insert. And these are all the things we can put in there. We can put a picture in there like I did for the Tulsa Urgent Care. You can take that picture from an email address, or you can upload it. You can add audio and video, which are fairly easy to do. In this case, we want to add an app part, an application. And you can see the St. Joe's calendar, because it's one of the new assets we added to the site, it appears there. We click on that, and then we click on Add. And now we have a calendar on the bottom of the site. Once we save it, we see how our site will look like to other users. We have our news feeds and our document, and now on the bottom we have a new calendar. Fairly easy to change the look of the site. There's some pre-made templates that if you like those better than the generic site, then you can basically click on it, try it out, see if you like the color scheme, and go with that. It's fairly easy. Let's see. This platform does take a while to think about everything it's doing. It's not the fastest thing ever. So this is the new color scheme, and if you like it, then you accept it. One thing I would recommend is once you're done playing around with this top blue bar, it probably shouldn't be there forever. Once you've experimented with all the things that it can do, you want to remove it. It's just going to be a cleaner look for the site. That's basically how it's going to look like. You have your newsfeed, documents, the calendar, and there's lots of other things we can add that I can show you on other sites. If you're a site administrator and you're creating minutes that you'd like to share with people, or you want to create a site update, one way to do that is to click on New and choose the type of document you'd like to create, in this case a Word document, and you call it that will take you directly into the online editor. You don't need to own a copy of Office in order to use this. This is part of what we're paying for users to be able to edit things online. You'd basically put in your updates.
Now, if you wanted to add minutes from a department meeting at a site specific, would you be able to add that? How would you take
You would
a Word
upload a different document?
Correct.
Yeah. So let's look at that. Once you're done, you go back to St. Joseph here, which will take you back to the site. At this point, we created a document that doesn't have much in it. But if you want to upload, you click on Upload.
Quick point there, that when you're using the online versions, you don't have to save the file.
Mm-hmm.
It saves every keystroke, and once you're done and click off of it, it's saved.
You choose a file from your library. The other thing is if you drag a file over this library, you'll see a pane comes up for drag and drop, and you can just drop the file on there. So that's fairly easy.
So what kind of things are we supposed to be, I mean, what would be a reason for like me to create a site or?
I think for you, for example, you are the medical director of Paratech. There may be things that are relevant for the group that we should know about what's going on with Paratech. I think it's reasonable for you to create a site for that where you could put in communication updates with them. You can create a discussion board for people to give you feedback on the different update points. If there's Paratech related events, you can put those here. One thing that's important
People
is
have to actually go and like seek them out. So I mean, if there's an important update that you want to tell other people about, you should basically just email everybody, right? Like say.
right. So that's where I sort of that's where there's different ways to do things. Like I told Randy earlier, if you want to send an update to everybody that goes to Elmbrook, one way is to create a distribution group and then email everybody, and then you can attach your updates there. That's the way we've done things always. The other thing to do, which to me makes more sense, is load your updates onto the site and then ask people to click on this. If I'm somebody who goes to St. Joseph, I should click on follow, and then it shows me that I'm following this site. Now, every time somebody who's an administrator creates an update, and I go to my newsfeed, look up their newsfeed, it will basically tell me, hey, Randy put something new on the Elmbrook site, I'm following it, now I'll know that I need to go there. Somebody who never goes to Elmbrook will unclick that and say, I no longer want to follow that site. So this is basically a conglomeration of all the updates from all the sites and users that I follow. And it goes in alphabetical order, and I can show more posts for more things that have been happening. That to me is a system that makes more sense than necessarily using emails for everything. I get the update, I know that I need to go there, I know where to go. Does that kind of make sense?
So the update will come as an email?
The update will not come as an email. In this sort of scenario, if you go to your news feed, you would see that there's an update, but you wouldn't
So you
get
have
an
to
email
check the
update.
site every day then?
I think if we use the site appropriately, the first place you should go every morning is the news feed. That would have everything that's new, that's relevant to you. And you'd already choose to configure the site in a way that allows you not to follow things that are not relevant. And so this would concentrate everything that you need to follow, and then the next step would be to go to Outlook to see if you have any emails. And if there's nothing new, you really don't need to manually scan the site to see what's going on.
So you have to ask people to follow.
You have to ask people to follow.
Your stuff.
Yes.
And if they don't, they won't see it. If that's
Now I can show you, you have something to add, Gary?
I was just gonna say, from the perspective of creating something, like Greg was talking about, a Paratech site.
Yeah.
What you would probably start with is inviting everyone to come view the site.
Yes.
And then anyone who's interested comes to use it. Anyone who's still interested once they've viewed it follows it, and now you have your group of people who follow.
Right.
Is there a way that it can trigger a notification to your
Yes.
things? So,
Yep.
if you only check it once a day and something comes up later.
Yeah, for my personal settings, I would not like an SMS notification every time there's a site update. I think that would be not convenient for me to get those texts every so many minutes. I think the way I sort of envision it is things that are truly emergent, I would like us eventually to use the SMS widget that hopefully is going to work soon to be able to send an email about emergency coverage that you need either to mid-levels or docs. And things that can wait a day should probably be a regular site update, and then people look at their newsfeed and do that. But you can set up notification to trigger your phone. That is possible. So this is a site that Matt Treat created for the mid-levels. And you can see that there's a type of application you can add to any site that's a discussion board. And so I think that's a good way to do clinical site updates too. You have a topic, you put in the subject, the matter of what's going on, and then people can actually reply to that specific issue and start discussions about your updates. The other thing that's here that's interesting is he added a tool that shows them who the members are and who's following the site and who's contributing to the site. If anybody wants help with that, I think that's fine. To me, that's more stuff that Matt is experimenting with and he thinks is cool, but I don't know how truly useful it's gonna be. Reputation settings, that's for people who've made contributions, created posts, replying to posts. So if you wanna follow the activity, you wanna know what's going on, are people actually going on my site, are they responding? That's where you would create a tool like this, just like Matt did. But I think ultimately Gary's idea of inviting everybody and then letting people deselect following your site makes the most sense.
Well, and sharing does not imply following, correct?
Sharing does not apply.
If I invite people to the site, that doesn't mean that they're set up to follow it.
They need to
until
click on that.
Click on follow.
Yeah.
Eric, what about when you put my name in, I got an email notification. Is that something people might want to use too?
To put your name in.
You put at Sarah Wazorek
Oh, yeah.
in that conversation.
Right. So if we go to, let's go to the site we just created. There's a couple of things when it comes to posting newsfeed. One is hashtags, the other one is the @sign. So if I want to post something on the site, but make sure that Sarah gets it, I use the @sign and I let her know. The other thing that's,
And I'll get an email saying your name was mentioned in a conversation, and you can click on the link in the email and it'll take you right to that.
you could do that same thing with groups. So if you want to inform the tech team that you have a tech issue that you need help with, that was supposed to come up. It does only individuals. I thought he did groups. Do you ever manage to do groups, Gary?
Not that way.
Not that way?
I haven't tried, to be honest with
Okay.
So in the newsfeed in the main site, the newsfeed, if you do add someone, people will be emailed.
Right, they'll be
You
emailed
wanna
specifically.
see that.
Right, and you could do multiple people. Should be fairly easy to. Why are you not there?
you. I don't understand why that wouldn't work with a group.
It worked for me before, I don't know. And Greg's not there. Yeah, maybe if you never logged in before, it may not recognize you.
So.
The other thing is hashtags that I wanted to mention. Rather than follow sites and individuals, some of us are gonna wanna follow topics. So I think is a good way to follow information that's going on in the site. Let's see, let's start with here. I'm gonna pick on maybe the governance committee and post something there. I think I have already, so I'll just use that example. Governance. So this is the site that Gary created. Oh, the way Gary created it is a note board. Note boards don't like hashtags, so let's go back somewhere. I'm sorry about that. I'll do it on our site. So I just posted an update that had to do with patient transfers. And let's say somebody wants to post a general posting on the site that has to do with transfers. Okay, so one of the words that's relevant to the general topic, I chose a hashtag. And now I'm posting it, and you see that this is highlighted. Now I can choose to follow this hashtag. And now every time there's something that shows up on our entire site that has to do with transfers, if somebody else posts a message, it could be on any other site. All those are grouped together, and then I can follow the hashtags. If I go to my news feed, it can show that I'm following one tag now. And if I click on that,
Good job, Jill.
it's, right now there's really nothing else that's relevant, but if anybody posts anything with this hashtag, I can follow those discussions and go straight to the sites and contribute. So rather than follow sites or follow people, you can follow topics, but that requires everybody to use hashtags when they can. And those are the ones I already created. Beth posted a comment on the site asking for help with finding an iPhone application. So I posted a response and I included this hashtag mobile app and iPhone app. And now if anybody posts anything else with those hashtags, I'll get an update.
So how do you see a list of all of the hashtags?
You would go on your newsfeed and you'd only see the ones that you follow. You don't see the list of every single hashtag on the group.
So how do you know which ones are?
When you go on the
Yeah.
site and you see a posting and you want to respond to it, if you see the posting, then you can immediately follow that hashtag. On the bottom of the posting, it would show up, do you want to follow this hashtag? Just like you did with me. Or if you respond to it using a hashtag, then you,
So
you would-
trending
Well,
shows
and
up
the
though too,
trending
yeah.
would show what kind of hashtags, what new hashtags have been active.
Oh, I see.
yeah, I think all the ones that are there are ones I generated, so it'd be interesting to see if,
Well, you're probably the only one using hashtags.
right.
So if I wanted to put a comment on there, like we're having problems with transfers, I don't know if we're having a problem with hashtag transfers.
That would be
Get it?
best, because if you post something on the mid-level site where you guys discuss that, if everything group under the same hashtag, then all those are kind of grouped together when you see them, and you can follow discussions on multiple sites that have to do with a single topic. But if you don't hashtag that, it's not smart enough to know that you're referring to the same topic and want to continue that discussion. That's sort of
The other way to do it is if you know that something's being followed as a hashtag, you can just start your conversation with hashtag transfers and then write your comments. It doesn't have to be a part of the sentence, right? Just as long as it's in the content.
Yeah, you can edit at the end. You can have your comment, and then after the last period, you can add whatever hashtags you think are relevant. That covered kind of the basics.
Hashtags.
Yeah, I did. I have a hashtag.
Otherwise, Eric, you see it in the news feed, a hashtag, and you're like, oh, this is a topic I want to follow.
Yes, and you
then
click follow.
Follow it, I see.
Yeah, we can show that again. I don't know if it's worthwhile, but if somebody else is logged in, it'd be easier.
Have
for
the
you.
smartphones here.
Yeah.
That's funny.
It is hilarious. Yeah, I already clicked on that, so it's not gonna show up now. I already clicked, I wanna follow it, but it shows up right over here next to the three dots. Follow hashtag transfers. That's how it looks like.
That's in Tulsa.
Yeah, if you go to TOSA, if you go to ems.wesharepoint.com /ClinSite/TOSA, you'll see this, and you see that you can follow the same hashtag. Now, my sort of feeling is for the ability of people to, I don't know, absorb new information, this may be enough. There is more to talk about that we can post in future videos. One thing that's interesting is for people who share documents or want to work and collaborate on documents together, you can activate something in the site library called versioning that preserves every edit of the document. So you can see everybody went in there and made a change. You can follow up all the changes that were made to a document. And that way, say, Julie and Jerry are coming up with a new monthly update and they want to collaborate. Julie will put an update in, Jerry would go in, create a new version with edits, they'll go back and forth. Once it's done, they'll post it on the public site. One thing that I did with the TOSA site that other people can do is I created another backdoor, another site called TOSA Leadership where Eric and I can share documents. If you go to TOSA Urgent Care, you shouldn't be able to even see this. It only shows up for Eric and I. And we can go there and basically discuss things that have to do with patient complaints, and we actually have a patient complaint up here, things that we don't necessarily want to share with everybody. Here we have a conversation about issues with EMHs and EKGs and.
Now, if you would've put at Randy, then he would've got notified.
Right. If we would have put Ed Randy, he would have been notified. Now
I
if-
knew who it was directed to.
Now with Joe's, we posted a document. One thing that I wanted to show Julie is how to share that with other people outside the organization. If we go to. We go to the main clinical site, and then we go to Joe's. We have a document here that I just created. Click on those three dots, and then click on share. Get a link. Create link. Now, if you copy that and you paste it into an email that you send to people outside of the organization, they will be able to view your site. This is available to anybody. I mean, to view that document.
Can you make the Wheaton email come to this?
Yes, you should be able to. Syncing of calendars and emails, and also all the mobile applications, I sort of kept to a separate phase. If people want to experiment with it, they can. I wanted to put in the first effort into making sure everybody can log in, everybody can use email. People who need to create content know how to do it. And then at some point in the near future, just a few weeks, we'll post tutorials on how to sync your Gmail calendar, the work email is a question mark. Outlook is definitely syncable with Outlook. Whether we can put securities there that will not allow us to do that, I can't answer the question until we try, but in principle, it's doable.
I've successfully pulled all of my iCloud emails over to the site.
Yeah.
I haven't, the next thing I was gonna try was to pull the Wheaton email, but
You haven't tried yet?
I haven't tried it yet. I will give a word of caution, if anybody's playing around and figures out, wants to try playing around with pulling your email over to the site, because for me, that's the most convenient. I want all my email in one place. Don't do it until we turn the auto forward off. Because what happened is I pulled my email from my iCloud account into the SharePoint, which then emailed me back on my iCloud account, and I got a little loop going. And that was quite exciting. I had 2,800 unread messages before I got to stop.
The other thing I mentioned earlier, I think before you showed up, Gary, is that I have some concerns about HIPAA compliance. Because we plan to share patient-sensitive information using this email, because now it's HIPAA compliant, if anybody sets their account to export emails to another personal account, we've just destroyed HIPAA compliance. So I would rather have people, once we play with it, import everything into Outlook in Office 365 rather than out. That would basically help us remain HIPAA compliant. The Wheaton email, if anything's patient sensitive, we're still gonna need to click on that Zic Corps site to pull the encrypted email, so that's, I mean, I wish there was a way to undo that, because if everything gets pulled securely into this site and we are HIPAA compliant, in principle, they don't need to encrypt that anymore, but I don't think that's gonna work.
You're never gonna prove to IS and Wheaton that our site is HIPAA compliant enough for them to control.
Yeah, I mean, Office 365, Microsoft gives any of its users a BAA, a Business Associate Agreement that basically outlines HIPAA compliance, and I would imagine they probably do a better job than Wheaton, but dealing with their bureaucracy is a whole other issue.
I just have one question for now. What's the easiest way for any emails that come to us through this to be notified on your phone?
What sort of operating system do you have on your phone?
It's Android.
Android. So
There is an app. I
there
think.
is an app for Android. I can, seems to be something that's on everybody's mind, so Randy asked the same question.
Well, what I did is my Android came with an email application that I would download my Roadrunner email to, and I just went to preferences and just said add email, and just added. It walked me through adding this one, and so all of them do come to my Android phone. So I'm
Yeah, you've just created a big leaking hole for HIPAA
Really?
compliance.
I
So
don't-
if you add an email
So
account, and you add this account, then all the provisions that have to do with HIPAA are now dependent on how you use your phone. If it doesn't have auto log off, if it doesn't encrypt, then you basically are screwed.
If you let
It's
someone
basically,
else
I just
play
want a
it.
notification
it's not,
that I got
it's
an
not
email.
syncing it to Roadrunner.
What,
It's
what-
basically bringing it, there are these two accounts and they're both bringing them to my
Right,
phone.
Right,
in my
but you're-
previous HIPAA experience, like if I give my phone to, unlock my phone, give it to my nephew to play a game on, technically I'm breaking HIPAA compliance.
The way it works with their application is their application doesn't store any of the data. It's just a dry link to this, and it does log off automatically. So if you use their application on that operating system, then we're maintaining the link.
Is
You're
that
maintaining it.
true, the OWA app will stay HIPAA compliant?
I can't answer that for sure. I
I'll
assumed that it
look.
was, but I
I
don't.
assumed so.
It's by Microsoft for that application.
So-
Right, but the trick is that if I do exactly what Sarah just said, I mean, I have the app and I hand my phone to one of my kids, and then
And it's still on?
Or click on the app,
all they
yeah.
have to do is touch the app and it pops up.
Yeah.
Right, there's no difference.
I'm gonna check.
Remember, then your computer's at home, my kid's playing my computer.
Yeah, so that,
And leave this automatically locked in.
right, they have specific rules as far as safeguards. It needs to have auto log off, and part of it is your responsibility as the owner. You can do the same thing at work. Your kid can be at work with you, and they can see patient-related information. It's your responsibility to log off the terminal when you're done working, to not allow other people to see patient-sensitive information. So there's multiple layers to HIPAA. There's what the employer needs to do as far as education and safeguards, what the website and encryption is supposed to do, and also your responsibility as a user. Some of these things may fall to your responsibility. You are
I'll make a
responsible
So
to
should
close
I
that
be
app.
I'll make
undoing what
a HIPAA
I've done
site.
because I've created a big potential HIPAA violation?
That's something that,
I mean,
Well, I did it the other day, and it didn't even occur to me that when I put the OWA app on my phone, but you're exactly right. I mean, all of these things, if I leave my laptop sitting around the house and somebody opens it and my SharePoint site comes up,
it's the
that's
same
HIPAA
thing.
non-compliant. Now, that's HIPAA non-compliance on me.
right.
So
I mean,
probably
is what I've done create a liability for,
I can tell you, given our existing HIPAA compliance, you're not creating any extra liability than we have already. This is something that we've needed to tack down for a while. There's lots of policies and procedures that we haven't had people sign off on and do educational modules and make sure they know what they're doing. So we have multiple holes in the system already. And this is not creating an extra hole, but we're gonna need to come up with an answer. We need to make sure those applications are HIPAA compliant. And then if you choose to use them, there'll probably be some annoying form you need to sign, basically saying you know what you need to do as a user. You're promising to do that, you're promising to log off the application before you physically let go of your phone. Enjoy.
Well,
I'm not gonna change
are you
it.
supposed to put patient-sensitive information in emails on here, though?
You can. See, if you use the desktop application and you do everything you need to do on the user end, basically people are not viewing the screen with you who are not permitted to, then yes, this is a platform where you can exchange patient-sensitive information. It's designed for that. We are not using our own server to store information. This is all on the cloud and encrypted. And the exchange between your terminal, your computer, and that server is encrypted along the way. There's multiple things they have to do to make sure they're HIPAA compliant, and there's only two platforms that are HIPAA compliant right out of the box. It's this one and the one that Google created, Google Sites.
I'll make a HIPAA site and start putting all of this stuff in there. I'll research the app and.
I'd say at this one point, do what's reasonable. There may be a point in the future where we'll ask you to promise that there are certain things you're not gonna do.
I promise.
So
Scott.
as we do first, when we do our little updates, like
Yes.
when we send out our site director updates,
Yes.
I'm just gonna go to St. Joe's, I'm gonna make a Word online, and I'm gonna do it there, and then I'm just gonna put it in there, and I'm gonna expect everyone's gonna take a peek at that at some point.
That's definitely an option. I can show you another way to do it. And there's a fine line between confusing people with too much information, because this allows you so many ways to peel the onion. One way that's kind of my favorite is we're gonna go to site contents here. Is it escaping? I'll go to site contents, and we're gonna add another app, which we haven't done before. And that app is called the discussion board. Now that we've added it to the site of assets we have, we then need to go to edit in order to add that to the screen that people are going to visualize. And we'll insert again. I'm going to add this to this top bar. I'm going to click on insert, just like we did before, app part. And again, all this will be online. Everything's being recorded. And now this is the new asset that I called SJH update, which is a discussion board. Let's add that. And then we'll save. So now you have a new thing on your website that you just added called discussion board. What I would do for updates, the thing that works the best for me, and again, you can definitely do a file here and point people to this file and send updates that way. But if you start a new discussion, you basically choose a subject, give you something that's supposed to be an update. Any,
Don't sit in
anything?
the hospitalist
Observation?
chair.
Huh?
Don't sit in the hospitalist chair.
Hospitalists.
Which one is that?
Don't.
Where Autumn always sits, and Manny.
The Manny?
Yeah.
Where you sat last night.
Yeah.
Oh, that's where I hung out last night.
Okay. So that's your subject.
Uh-huh.
You save that.
Can the hospital seat be a rotating seat? Go to a high seat at night?
Okay. So this is perfect, because if you log in there, you can actually post a comment and respond to it. If you add multiple discussion points, then they become sort of live. People can comment on those individual updates, and now you're creating discussion boards for every update.
Okay.
The other point is to do
Can we
it.
hashtag that too?
You can hashtag
Can
in
I
the
put
newsfeed,
at
but not
in
there.
Hashtag.
But you know what, here's another good idea for that. How about at night, the hospitalist goes to the pharmacy seat because there's nobody there? You know, to
Hospitals doesn't
transition?
come down at night, it's not an
Does a
issue.
hospitalist ever use that seat?
No, never.
They do during
Okay,
the day. It's got all their paperwork in it.
okay.
But what, now Eric, you were also talking about creating a document that both Julie and I can.
Yes, talked about.
Create separate versions.
Right, I can show you that too. By the way, if you want this to be interactive with other users, you do need to click the questions mark over there. That way, you're welcoming questions and answers about this topic.
Okay.
So sharing documents. Let's go home again.
Now, all this stuff that you've put on there.
Yeah.
Are you able to take off if you wanted, or is it all?
Yeah, you
part
can-
of the permanent record, you know?
No, what, do you mean individuals, updates, or?
Just like a lot of these different things you've added.
You can, yeah, you can definitely delete that. I can show you how to do that. If we go back home, and now we click edit.
Like, let's say Manny takes great offense to being called
Right.
the manager.
Well, if you don't like the entire application, you can just delete it. Yeah, that should be one.
So, and that's only the person who creates it, right?
You need to give people owner privileges to be able to do this.
Otherwise, Eric and I are global administrators.
Oh.
And if you can't remove something, you can go in and do it.
This is, you can add whatever text you want as well. And this works kind of like Word, you know, you just change the format of the text to whatever you want. Color. Save. So you've just removed the discussion board and you added some text to your site, and you see fairly easy. Okay, let's go back to documents. If you click on documents, then it would bring up the entire library. And at this point, I believe, if you go to site settings, and you go to, let's see where that is. Gary, do you remember what the versioning administration
Or
is?
you're versioning a
library.
a library.
Is it the 3 dots on the library, or was it here? Save the template view.
It might be the three. It might be the 3 dots on the site library and site libraries and lists.
Okay, site libraries and lists. Customize? No.
Track customizing documents. See if that gives you
Versioning setting. So this is how we get there.
This is just settings for the St. Joe's clinical site?
It would work only for their document library. You need to set that individually for every site. So they have either major or minor draft versions. You can experiment with that. You can set a limit to the number of versions and drafts. Who should see the drafts? All users, only who you specify.
Eric, is there a way to see a list of all the sites that are available on it without being specifically invited to the sites? Because here you're just showing me all like 10 different sites that are on there. You have to search for them individually, or you have to be specifically invited to the sites to join.
I think the answer to your question lies in the fact that when you pulled up EMS internal, you could see governance committee, and you've been invited to that site.
Oh, okay.
And Randy could not see governance committee because he's not been invited to that site.
It's the top bar, but it only shows you the daughter sites for the site you're looking at. You're still not seeing the entire picture. Because if you go in EMS internal, right now the way it's set up is it would show you, for example, that one of the top sites there is clinical sites, but that doesn't show you what goes under there, which is St. Joseph's and Tulsa Urgent Care.
So if I wanted to set up a site like Milwaukee County EMS site,
Right.
what would I put that in the main page up in here,
Right.
site, or would I go onto EMS internal and then daughter it off of, say, one of the other ones?
I can tell you
Where's the spot to put that?
there's nobody that put a lot of thought into it. To me, if we're going to end up with 30, 40 sites, we probably don't want all of them right next to each other on this top bar. It might be too cluttered. We might want to organize them into 3, 4, 5 different groups. I kind of started working on that, but I certainly don't have. We need to probably figure this out. Let's see. Mockups. Mockups is a site that allows you to do mockups. Crazy.
When it says add a page, does that add your site
No, you can add pages too, but we're just doing subsites for now. So you go to site contents and then add a subsite.
We'll just leave it that way.
So Gary, if you want to take a look at that, it's sort of my initial vision for how we organize. I don't have errors yet, but if EMS internal is in the center, I sort of envisioned from there to clinical sites, which then would group all the clinical sites we have. I envision an org category, which is corporate subdivisions, the board of director, the mid-level exec, the executive committee. Governance will probably go under that as well. Then we have things that are clinical but don't have to do with the sites, like clinical protocol committees, observations,
Yeah,
stuff,
although
P&T.
observation probably needs to be a daughter of St. Joe's, at least at this point,
Well,
unless
it
we
could.
expand observation activities. to
Yeah,
our site.
and that's perfectly okay. Then we can have a social, which would have wellness and what Maggie does.
Yeah.
So that's 1, 2, 3. And admin would be corporate compliance, HIPAA, testing modules, the stuff that Kevin does and he wants to communicate to all of us. So we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different sites coming out of EMS internal and then subdivisions after that.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about this yet, but it's something we're gonna have to
Yeah.
work towards.
So you, Greg, I think would make more sense under this clinical, because it's a clinical issue that doesn't have to do with the site.
Yeah, now understand that doesn't exist yet.
It doesn't exist yet, but it could exist this afternoon, if we all think it makes
Could
sense.
exist in the next 10 minutes if you want.
Well, I'm not that fast, but.
Capitalization
All right, so what he's saying is, can you go back to internal real quick?
That's phenomenal. This is under, well, health policy, it's not truly EMS administration, but it's a political issue. Where do you think would make more sense? You can stick it really, it's definitely not social or clinical sites. You know what, you can be a, you want to hit it.
Yeah.
Everything going okay, Rebecca?
Not to negotiate with.
Yes, okay, adding links. Having a tough time. Let's talk about adding links. Does everybody want Tangier, Calendar, and ISBS on their personal sites, on their links? Is that something that's useful for you guys?
Sure.
Yeah. Sure. So I'm gonna go to my personal site that I've created that any of you can do. And we're gonna add a link to Tangier. So I already have a link there. I'm gonna delete it so that I can show you how we do this. I'll delete the Tangier calendar. So we're going back to edit links, and now we're gonna press on the plus link sign that allows you to add a new one. What sort of text would you like to display for this link? You would like Tangier calendar.
Tangier's already on
I on mine. I deleted
It was
it.
on mine, I added.
You didn't add it? Oh.
I don't think.
Interesting. And then you put the
Could have happened.
the web address, which is www.tangierweb.com. And you click OK. Doesn't like this. It wants the HTTP. Fine. So let's save this. Now you have a Tangier Cal. You click on that, and it takes you to Tangier Web. Oh, now one thing I mentioned, or I should mention. Didn't work for you?
Oh.
You need to save that. You have it there. Yep.
And then just hit save.
Save. One thing that's worth mentioning is password management. There's all these places we need to log into. It may be useful for people to use one place to manage their passwords. If you go to Getting Started, it's a good place to see help videos. So if you have a question about creating a website, so you can watch this video, creating a new subsite. And I've posted some YouTube videos there that can help you. Yes, you get to hear my annoying voice again in this video. It takes a while to load.
You have a lovely voice, Eric.
Oh, thank you. Boy, this is slow, huh?
You should have like guest voices.
Hmm?
Guest voices.
With us all on here.
Okay, I'd like to work on setting up the... This is the video. So you get to watch that as well.
That's great. That was a great video.
Thank you. And here's what I wanted to show you here. There are 2 links to password management sites that you can add onto your browser at home or on your laptop. One called LastPass, the other one 1Password. And if you click on those, it will take you straight to the download site. These are free, and once you sign up, you download the application, you sign up, you can store all your passwords, including Tangier and IHBS. And what that allows you to do is do automatic login. So once you click on the link, this application would fill in your authentication credentials, and then you'd see your calendar right away without needing to put any username and passwords. That could make your life easier, and that way the links work seamlessly. You click on the link, you see the calendar, no stops.
Oh, sorry. Would you repeat that? I'm sorry.
As far as the passwords?
Yeah, to get through that quickly.
Yeah, so these are 2 options for software that you can add onto your browser, which allows you to manage passwords. The icons are live, they're links. So if you click on 1Password, you go straight to their download site. It's going to show up a version that's appropriate for your system. If you download and install it, you can put in all your site passwords, including Tangier, IHBS, personal ones as well.
Yeah.
And then what it does is once you click on the link that I've created, it's going to fill in your credentials automatically and shows you the calendar. I can show you that on
like
Chrome.
Level of security.
Here, this is my site. Now, I don't have this installed on this browser, but I do have it installed on Chrome. So if we go to my personal site in Chrome, and then click on I'm going to click on the Tangier calendar and shows you to show you that it logs in. This is the icon that you're going to see on your browser if you choose LastPass. So I'm going to click on Tangier calendar. It takes me to the site. It fills in my password, and it logs me in. So this is one click to your calendar.
The other thing that you can do in reverse is on your, if you go to across the top where it says Outlook calendar newsfeed.
Yeah.
If you go to calendar, you can actually go into Tangier, and it'll tell you you can copy a link to your Tangier calendar and drop it into a new calendar under a calendar, and now all of a sudden your Tangier calendar will show up in your calendar on SharePoint.
Oh, that's great. I haven't tried that.
It's
Should we try it now?
Yeah,
Sure.
So how does that work?
so go to Tangier.
Oh, go to Tangier first.
Yeah, because you need the link from Tangier.
Yay. And then go to share calendar or?
Yeah, if you go to ShareCal and then subscribe to your personal calendar, and then or I'm sorry, this let's see, go to subscribe to iCal or whatever.
This will get it to my Mac calendar.
Yeah, no, I'm
So is it
basically, if you just your Tangier, there we go. Subscribe to your Tangier web personal calendar and Google Calendar, Microsoft. Go to Microsoft Outlook. I'm sorry.
Microsoft Outlook.
Right. And
Manually add?
Manually add subscription. So you copy the address. Now that's the web address of your Tangier calendar, and copy it.
Okay.
Now go back there, put calendar under my calendars see, right click on my calendars. No, on my calendars rather than calendar. Now, new, oops,
No,
no,
not new?
right click on that. Now, open calendar. Now, under internet calendar, paste your address. Open. It'll take a minute to download it. And suddenly.
Phenomenal. It should show up right over here.
Yep.
Yep.
There it is.
Awesome.
So now you've linked your Tangier calendar into this. Any changes to the Tangier calendar will show up in this. You can do the same thing, like I use iCal all the time for family calendars. I can subscribe to my family calendar right onto here.
I use Gmail,
and then
but
you can choose to see them all or not see them, unhighlight them.
Eric, can you do that one more time?
Do it
Sorry.
one more time.
Yeah.
the calendar?
Yeah.
Go back to where I've already copied, now what do I do? Find
You-
calendars?
My
You
calendars.
copied, you go to My Calendar,
My Calendar.
right click, Open Calendar.
Right click, open calendar, okay,
Once you're in Open Calendar, you go to Internet Calendar, the bottom,
paste.
paste.
Whoopah!
Wow.
It's not for a second.
And just don't open?
Just show it.
Yeah, open
Are you stuck somewhere?
Is it your permissions on the internal? Eric, you don't have different permissions on the internal site for different people, do you?
No, we don't have permissions set there. Basically, everyone has,
Greg is doing the goofiest thing. Whenever he goes to the EMS internal page, it bumps to a welcome to the EMS internal page, and it doesn't show him the site list.
that's odd.
It is really odd.
We're gonna get one of our
It's just
consultants
Dr.
on that.
Richburg's. It's just him.
He was
Dr.
from the very
broke
beginning.
the internet.
We'll try to sort
no
that
room
out.
for Richburg
It's talking
land.
for a second and then
Yeah,
goes away.
you see it for a second, and then it bounces to a different page. It's the goofiest thing.
Huh.
I
Yeah,
used to be able to see it.
Yeah, it was working before.
yeah, I'll email one of the,
Boom.
we have a couple of technicians who help us with stuff like that.
Do you know how to get your Google Calendar on here?
I don't
Or
know.
your
It
Gmail?
would basically be the same.
Another thing I wanted to show you guys is oh, Andy asked about that, but he left. I worked on a shift exchange calendar for people
Yeah,
to check out to see if they like it.
This is, I have it.
I think that's under,
Okay, so this is your Tangier calendar. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to actually go to your Google calendar.
it's under executive committee, but I can move it.
I'm sure it is.
Actually,
Yeah, I just did that, so.
So,
Called the certificate?
this is a shift exchange calendar that's kind of experimental. You can basically, you can go on any day and you click add on the calendar. You pick a category. Do you want to give away shift or take a shift? If you want to give away shift, you title it appropriately. SGH 6A 2P. Can anyone help?
Or should I just go to share?
oh, yeah.
And you need to post the appropriate times.
Oh, you know what, I was just trying to.
Did you
I need to
configure the categories?
Yes.
Okay,
That's
check
all right.
my
Yeah.
calendar.
Be able to
And then-
add trade and split.
Yeah, we can add more categories under different colors.
And then it says.
So here you shift, this is, everything that's red is you want to give away a shift, anything that's blue, you want to pick up a shift. And that would allow us to go on a day specific, and rather than send Tangier requests, you can use this as a trade board before you actually do the switch. Some people suggested it as kind of more low-key, I guess their concern was everybody sends trades thinking they have to have some sort of a family emergency, whereas it might be nice if people out there are interested in picking up shifts and all you want to do is play golf, and maybe that could work out fine too, if we have a shift trade board like
So
this.
people would have to go on the site to look to see if there's shifts.
Yep.
So what I did.
So,
so
next I have to leave.
myself,
Moving forward,
and then
if there's information that's important to me, I need to check the site every day. I'm not gonna know
You need to
without
follow
checking.
the site, and then all you need to do is check your news feed, right over here.
But I'm saying I have to go in every day to look
You have to
at
go
it.
in every day.
There's no way, I'm not gonna get an email from Sarah saying,
Even if you get an
It's an
email, you
update.
need to log in to check your email, and you're gonna get, for the first couple of weeks, notified on your personal email that something new is going on, because we wanna pull people into the site. But the idea at the end is, this is something we're gonna need to check daily. If you don't wanna check your personal email, just bring all your personal emails to this site and just check this site. That's an option. Then it's a one-stop shop.
Did you add HBS to the links?
I did, for myself.
Because I added it and then so it was there twice. So I think when you, because I never added Tangiers, and I added IHBS, but it showed up twice after you just added
It's
it.
interesting. I need to check out with the text if it, when I add a link, it does it for everybody, or it's just individual. I assumed it's individual, but maybe it doesn't work like that.
It showed up. I never added Tangiers, so it's there.
Yeah, maybe that's the way it works. I could never log into somebody else's account, so I
I'll
wasn't.
add like HBO.
Anything else, guys?
thank you.
Yeah, anytime. Okay, I'm gonna stop the recording.
Thanks.